Now, in very simple terms, we can say systematics deals with diversity of organisms, identification classification and nomenclature. Now these are independent sciences. There's a science which we need to follow for identification. Classification is another science, nomenclature is another science. Okay, now we have just written the few steps that we need to follow while studying the organisms. Okay, what is identification? Identification means to be able to relate something to something. Okay, when you see a bird, what you do is you compare what you are able to see, okay, with what is already there in your mind. This is what you do. When you see a human, you compare whatever you are seeing with whatever is there in your mind. Now, when you do this, okay, basically do this, it's a two-step process. The steps which we have written. First, what you do is you record the data, you observe, okay, the organism, you observe the shape, the color, the size, whatever, right? And then you compare. But for the comparison, you basically need set of definitions for each and everything. Like, identification depends upon having keys and systems. It depends upon these things. Now, what are keys? Keys are definitions. Keys are definitions of certain thing. Like, say for example, that if you say mammals have hair on the body, you must have the definition of hair. Okay, when you say the birds have wings, you must have the definition for a wing. Okay, now these definitions are known as the keys. Okay, when you observe something, right, there is a cylindrical structure, it might be black, it might be brown, it is made up of keratin protein. Okay, right, now this is the description of that particular thing, and the final outcome is the color, the name of that thing. Okay, so basically there is a description leading to a name, or you can say there is a statement leading to a conclusion. Name is the conclusion, right? And the description is in the form of a statement, right? The statement is called the lead. Statement is called lead, whatever the description. Like, it's cylindrical, it is black in color, it is made up of keratin protein, and finally it is hair. Okay, this is how you identify. So identification depends upon the keys. right? And you should have the systems. Now what systems? The systems for measurement, colors, etc. Right? You must have these systems. If you never had a system of colors, how would you recognize something which is red as red? If you never had a system for, you can say, dimensions, right, for measurement of dimensions, how can you say anything is long, flat, short, right? You would not be able to say. But because you have systems, we already have systems, you use these words. Okay, you can say it is 2 centimeters long, it is 5 centimeters long, it is 3 meters long, or whatever it is brown in color, it is blue in color, it is black in color, right? So basically because you have systems, you can identify. Now you have a pen in front of you, right? You call it a pen. The pen is the conclusion, right? It is basically a name. The description of the pen is the lead. Now the combination of the lead and the conclusion, the combination, this set is known as the T. Okay, correct? Now this is identification. Classification. First we'll understand what are these 3 things: identification, classification, and nomenclature. Okay, classification, just like identification, it's a 2-step process. Identification is a 2-step process. In the first step, what you did was you created keys in systems, and then you assigned characteristics to the organisms. Okay, it's a 2-step process. First you developed the system of colors, then you said something is red. Okay, first you developed this thing, the key, that is hair. Then you said mammals have hair, right? First you said you developed a system for defining the wings, then you said the birds have wings. Okay, so identification is a 2-step process. Similarly, classification is again a 2-step process. 2-step process. How? First thing, creating systems. First you create systems. Okay, when you create systems, you say, you form groups. Let us suppose there are 3 groups. Group, another group, and another group. Okay, I'm just taking an example. Let us suppose there are boxes of 3 different colors. Okay, this is for red color, this is, let us suppose, for blue color, and this is, let us suppose, for yellow color. Okay, what you did was, first you identified that there are 3 different kinds of colors. Okay, and then you developed the system of forming groups, right? This seems very obvious or very, very simple, right? But let us talk about the education system, right? We have education system in India and abroad also. All the countries have a proper education system. A class first student would not be taught the things taught in the 11th or 12th class, simply because the child has got a different state of mental development, right? So on the basis of that particular development, the child would be assigned certain books, certain you can say certain material to study. Okay, the teachers who are going to teach in the first class would be very different from the teachers who are going to teach the students in the 11th and 12th class. Okay, the content is different, right? The age group is different. Mostly students of a particular standard, right? Let us suppose the 8th standard or 9th standard or 10th standard, whatever. these belong to a particular age group. Okay, so fixing rules about the content, about the age group, about the kind of teachers, right, about the test they are going to take. Okay, we have created groups, right? In the second step, what we do is, now we have created systems. In the second step is assign groups to things. Now you have a clutter of boxes, right? Let us suppose you have several boxes in front of you, right? You pick one box. Okay, you pick one box and you place it in this blue group. Why? Because it is blue in color. There's a group of students. You ask one of them, to which class do you belong, you study in. Okay, the child would say, I'm in third class. There is a basis on which the child has said that I belong to the third standard. Okay, right? In the next step, what you do is, you would send the child where the third class students would be sitting, right? Got it? So first, what you do is, you create systems and then you assign groups to the things. Okay, done. The third step, identification, classification, and the third science is nomenclature. Nomenclature simply means naming an organism. Now, we in India, we have got certain sets of names, right, for humans. Okay. Now, you would not expect someone to call a human a pencil or a pen, right? There's a very thin person in your class. You might, in a funny tone, in a funny way, you might call that person like a pencil, a hockey stick, or whatever you want to. But that is not a proper name given to that person, right? So the first step, what you need is rules. You basically need rules for nomenclature, for naming, right? The Englishmen, the Christians, they have got different names. The Mohammedans, the Muslims, they have got different rules for naming their children. Like Hindus, the Sikh, many, like depending upon the religion, depending on the family systems, whatever they are, they've got certain rules. Okay, 9. Then what you do is, you naming or assigning names. Again, it is of 2 steps. Assigning names, right? So basically, what we have seen is, identification is a 2-step process, classification is a 2-step process, and nomenclature is a 2-step process. Got it? Okay. And we discussed that systematics deals with formation of systems. So basically, if I try to differentiate systematics from taxonomy, okay, I say systematics includes taxonomy. If I try to differentiate between systematics and taxonomy, I would say systematics deals with the first step of identification, classification, and nomenclature. Okay, so what I mean is, construction of keys and systems. Okay, that is a part of identification, right? Forming groups as a part of classification, and third, forming rules for naming. Okay, this is systematics. Taxonomy deals with application of systematics. Okay, taxonomy would deal with the application of systematics, that is using the keys to identify, assigning groups to the organisms, various organisms. Now cockroach is an insect, right? But first what you did was you created basic rules for the group insect. In the 9th class you have studied diversity, right? Now let us suppose if I talk about insects, 3 pairs of wings, a pair of compound eyes, right? 3 pairs of wings or 2 pairs of wings? 3 pairs of walking legs, 2 pairs of wings, right? And a pair of compound